Welcome to Tell the Damn Story, the show that explores the many ways to navigate the successes and failures that aspiring and struggling writers face to make your journey that much easier.
Chris? Yep.
Yes. Oh,
Yep.
how
Oh,
you doing?
what
I'm
are you
trying to
doing?
calm myself down, Alex. Trying to calm myself down.
Really?
I'm what was the word you were talking about, you were using in the green room about me? One of mine today?
Feisty?
Yeah, I'm a little feisty today. I gotta tell you, by the way, I'm Chris Ryan. I write stuff. He's Alex Simmons. He's a legend. And this is Tell the Damn Story. And I really don't know what we're gonna talk about today.
Yeah, right. You can't guess.
Been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
wonder.
sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think about this for a moment here.
You know what? Let's get into it.
Okay. Okay.
Let's get into it.
So there was an old TV series. I got to start this way. There was an old TV series that was based on Chris Rock, and the title of the series was Everybody Hates Chris. And I think this episode could be just about everybody hates Supergirl.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
And here, let's go from there.
I tell you what, they hate Supergirl. The people who hate Supergirl hate Supergirl. This is my thesis for this episode. They hate Supergirl because they're wrong and fucking stupid. There you go. That's my
Okay.
measured,
Yeah.
calm assessment of the situation.
Yes, absolutely professional at all times.
Well, Alex, I have been called feisty
Yes, you have.
in
I've done
my
it.
in the past. I have been called combative in the past. Most amusingly, people have occasionally called me short-tempered.
Oh,
What they don't
nah.
understand, what they don't understand is I quietly and calmly take it for a long time and no one notices that. And I'll calmly point out things that are my point of view or where their logic might be in error. But there comes a boiling point. And when it boils, like if you have a tea kettle, I love tea, right? And you have
You
a tea
drink it all the
kettle
time.
all the time. You have a tea kettle and it's boiling. And then when it's can't take it no more,
Yep.
it's not a sudden maniac machine. That's the function of the fire
It blows its top.
heating the situation, right?
Yep.
So it's doing its function. And occasionally, boot has to go in ass. And I think the haters online need a boot in the ass. It shouldn't probably be my boot. Who cares about me? But I'm willing to do my part.
That's awful nice of you to volunteer for that
Well, you know
particular.
what? Because honestly, if I'm going to be calm and reasoned about this, that will not last this episode. What these haters are doing by just crapping all over Supergirl and the cast, etc., and James Gunn, is they're endangering the genre of movies that they love.
How do you see that? How do you
Okay,
feel that?
because bottom line, James Gunn will make great movies until it's time for him to go in the next sphere of existence, whatever that is, right? But he's not paying the bills. Hired to do this. There are higher ups who are paying the bills for DC movies, for Marvel movies, for Star Wars movies, etc. And they aren't necessarily creative people. They are creative business people, meaning that they can see the value, the business value, the dollars and cents of a certain creative output. And that's where they go rather than building buildings or drilling for oil or whatever, other executives do. But if they're not making money, they'll stop that area and they'll go to another area, right? If you're excavating a vein of gold in a mountain and there's no more gold in there, you
Runs out.
go to
Yep.
a different vein.
Yep.
And this is the danger that they are getting us all in. Maybe if no one's going, and they did, God, I hate to give these assholes credit, but they did a superior job in scaring people away from a really good, really, I would say, great movie. Supergirl is objectively a riskier movie than Superman was.
Oh,
I
for a bunch of reasons we'll be talking about.
Yes, but if no one goes, why would the company continue putting money on projects like that?
Well, I think,
Right?
let me
Because
play
their
devil's
only
advocate for a
interest,
second. Let me play devil's
Alex,
advocate
their
for.
only interest is making money.
But a quick comeback to that would be fine. They'll still do Superman, Batman, whatever. And so, in other words, some of the
Why?
haters or some of the people who are bitching about this will say, yeah, well, we don't need a Supergirl movie. We don't need
O-
movies like that. Because
Okay, so then here we go. Here we
remember how
go.
they reacted.
Superman, Man of
Wait.
Tomorrow has Supergirl in it, asshole.
Remember how
Not
they
you,
reacted.
them.
Remember how they reacted to the women warriors showing up in Endgame in that
Right,
end sequence. Remember how they reacted to Captain Marvel not being able to take out Thanos. At
right.
the same time, she took out an entire battle cruiser by herself.
Or the Captain Marvel movie, or the Marvels,
Yep.
or the second Wonder Woman movie, because they weren't rallied and positioned for the first Wonder Woman movie. That caught them unprepared. But every other movie that starred women, they freaked out, right? Or black people.
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you there, Chris.
I'm talking black fellas,
Oh, those people.
black
Yes.
people. The Captain America movie with Sam Wilson did not do as well. Why? Well, he thought all Captain America. Shut up. It was a fun movie. It was a fun movie. It was a middle of the stack comic book as opposed to the top of the stack, but it was still a lot of fun. And he was great in it. And Harrison Ford was great in it. And blah, 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 blah. Or The Odyssey, where they're freaking out that Lupita is Helen of
Helen of
Troy.
Troy. Yeah.
Are you kidding? Have you seen this woman? I would go to war for this woman. Are you
Watch it.
kidding?
Well, you're married. Remember, you know.
Or oh God, forgive me, I forgot their their correct name. Used to
Oh,
be
the
Ellen.
actor you're thinking of. Yes.
Eddie now, I forget. But the actor who played, I think it was Sinan was the character's name. A small bodied, younger warrior that was sacrificed by
Elliot
Odysseus.
Page.
Elliot, thank you, not Eddie,
Yeah,
Elliot. I'm
Elliot.
sorry, Elliot. I'm sure you're a big viewer of this particular show, but if it comes through the channels, I really apologize. Elliot, they say, oh my God, they can't have Elliot Page as, yes, you can. The only requirement of an actor is to fulfill the role, is to perform the role well. There's not a second of screen time where Elliot is exactly that character and exactly what that character needs. So, all you people dissenting, shut the fuck up. Same thing about Lupita. She's perfect, Helen. Shut the fuck up. And if you want to say there's people online that's saying this beautiful woman is not beautiful enough to be Supergirl, fuck you. That's it. Yeah, I told you. You told me I was feisty. But
Yes.
enough with this.
That's feisty times 3.
It's just bullshit. It's bullshit. And if you don't understand Supergirl, the movie, have your girlfriend. Oh, that's right. You probably don't have a girlfriend because you spend all your time online spewing bullshit. You know
Let
what?
us do this
There's
now that we
online
have said
therapy
that.
for you. Calm down.
Yes, let us do
Figure
this
out what
now
your
that
life's
you've said
about
that.
and go get one.
Let us do this now that you have said that.
I feel so good. No,
We are going to,
no, I'm becoming
as
part of the
writers,
problem.
as
You're right.
creatives, as what Tell the Damn Story is about, we
Right.
are also going to address this film and how we both reacted to it. And we went to see it separately. No, I don't want people that we're attached at the hip, although sometimes we do wear the
We
same
will
clothes.
be professorial.
Right. But we are going to approach this in terms of storytelling.
Yes.
And the pros and cons of, because Chris, you're in love with the movie. I liked the movie. I found there were problems for me with the movie, but I thought overall I sat there and I had a good time. But let's
Well,
look at this. Let's
let
look
me
at this.
clarify. In love, people will dismiss me. I appreciate what it's done, and I did get defensive for it because people are blinding others
That's
to
yeah,
the value of the movie.
that's
So there's my
another that's
asterisk.
let's talk
So
about this. One of the things that was said was that they some of the complaints was that it was not exactly like the graphic novels or the comic book series that it was based on. So
true.
let us start with the A word, adaptation.
That's correct.
An adaptation is not an absolute exact replication of the original form. By its very nature, print to film is a different process. And you can honor and respect the source in different ways. And we have a plethora of examples. I'm not going to pull it out today, but there are a plethora of
Thank God.
examples of bad adaptations or
True.
where the only thing they adapted was the title of the original source
Right.
material. So Supergirl is not unique to this. Okay.
Right.
There's that. The other thing I will say is that film is a different medium
Yes.
than a book, even a visually illustrated book. I often tell my students, and when I'm helping them write either comic scripts or screenplays, right, that for a comic book, it's like you see the movie in your head, but you have to take snapshots of the
Right.
most crucial moments because
Right.
that's all you have the space to lay out the story. And yet you have to tell that story smoothly, cleanly, right? But with
Yes.
limited visuals.
Yes.
Film, yes, you can pan a room. You can do a long walk and sweeping panoramic shots and all that kind of stuff. You can do that. Film is a different medium, it requires different pacing. And yes, because quite often, they who wrote the original book or comic or graphic novel are not the people who wrote the screenplay.
Right.
The work will filter through these creatives differently in terms of writers. And
Right.
now here's another big one. It doesn't stop with the writers. It continues on to be filtered through the director, the cinematographer, the set designers, and all that. And, whoa, here's a concept, the actors. What do they bring to the
Right.
performance, to the development of the characters? Because in the best of possible worlds of being a film actor, someone like a director might sit down and say, "How do you see this scene? How does this moment work for you? What do you think about the character here and there? Do these lines work for you? Blah, 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 blah." It's a creative process. If you want the comic book or the graphic novel, go buy it.
Yeah.
Embrace it, sleep with it, have a great time, no problem. But when you go to see an adaptation, a film adaptation of a book, make an adjustment. So that's the
And
first thing I
and
wanted to say about that.
and I would add to that, if you have the book and you go and see the movie, when you come home, you still have the book. And there's I don't think there's a word to word, shot for shot, 100% adaptation. Not even Sin City,
Mm.
where where
Frank, Frank.
Robert Rodriguez sold making Sin City a movie to Frank Miller by saying we'll co-direct and the books we're going to use as storyboards. That's the script. We're going shot for shot, right? Watchmen, shot for shot very often, but not 100%. Sin City, not 100%. The beautiful Project Hail Mary is not shot for shot the book. They both exist. Remember what Stephen King said. If someone wants to buy your book to make a film of, look at the script, look at the contract. If you agree with the contract and you agree with the payment, sign, take the check, cash the check, and shut up because your book is your work and their movie is their adaptation of your book. It might be great. Green Mile, for example, is some of the more modern ones. It might be crap. We've seen a bunch of those too
Oh
from
boy. Oh
right
boy.
Stephen King's work. but he maintains the same position at all times. They paid me for it so they could do an adaptation. I'm not in charge of their adaptation.
That's right.
Same thing here. Okay, now that we've established our view on both of that, I do want to take it to the next thing.
Which is?
The gifts of this movie, Supergirl. Okay, because it's not, some of the complaints are the villain is underdeveloped. I'll be right back.
Oh, we'll have to sit here and look at this poster of Supergirl while he's gone. And I said that for the folks who are listening to this episode as opposed to seeing it on YouTube. Ah, he's back.
So, Krem in the Supergirl movie is very much like the Maltese Falcon. There's the Maltese Falcon,
He's got a little
right?
statue
Which
of
was
it.
featured in the Dashiell Hammett book, The Maltese Falcon, and was featured in the Humphrey Bogart starring movie, The Maltese Falcon. And you see this Maltese Falcon?
Yep.
There's no character development of this Maltese Falcon. Just like in Casablanca, there's no character development for the papers of transit. You know why? Both of those things are what's called a MacGuffin. That's a Hitchcock word. It's just an object or a character that pushes the story forward.
Drives the plot. Yeah.
Krem drives the plot by doing a terrible thing to Ruthie's family. Twice, yes. Well, this is what this person does. But the story is not about Krem. The story is not about Supergirl versus Krem. The story is about Supergirl isolated and wanting to not be part of what her gifts make her, and Ruthie, who awakens that part of Supergirl, let's say the super part. The idea that I have to help her. She can't do this alone. I have to keep her safe, because if I don't, she's going to carry the same kind of deadening weight that I carry.
And
Which
can I?
Go ahead. You want
Yeah,
to
I
jump
just
on
want to jump in because
that point?
now you're right in the neighborhood I wanted to get into too.
Then, ladies and
Is
gentlemen, Alex Simmons.
but okay. One of the things that I've read a number of the reviews and I've also heard the buzzings. And one of the things that I tend to hear
Reviews.
in some voices of discontent is an attitude about what she doesn't do, what she doesn't say, why doesn't she use her powers more? And I think that one problem was I think some folks went to see a different movie. They were expecting a different film. This film is not, and even you've referred to her Supergirl several times. This film is about Kara. This film is about this teenage girl who lost everything except her cousin. She lost her mother, her father, slowly, by the way, she lost her mother, lost her father when he sent her into space, knowing that the race of people, her planet was already destroyed. This chunk of the planet is dying. And
Well,
so,
that's all Kara. That's Kara, right?
right, yeah, Kara. I'm
Oh,
talking,
not Supergirl.
yeah,
Her in her
her
real
Kryptonian
incarnation.
name is
That's
Kara,
right.
right?
Right.
She is realizing that she has lost everything. And there's even a line in the film when Clark or Superman says to her, you won't find your people if you keep going off world. And she goes, that's the problem. I have no people.
Right.
Right? Literally, they are the last two beings, as far as they know, of a dead planet. And
Yes.
she got to watch that planet die in a conscious state. In other words, she was a teenager when it happened. Superman was a baby when he was sent into space. He doesn't have all that experience. He didn't get to know his parents that way.
He doesn't even speak Kryptonian.
Kryptonian. So she has gone through all that and now has to live with that. And she doesn't know how to deal with the trauma. She just wants to numb it all. And that's a lot of what this story is about, is a teenage girl who has experienced so much trauma that she just doesn't want to have to remember it. She just wants to deaden that because she doesn't know what to do with. She doesn't know what to do with herself. That's the individual. And as we often say in terms of our writing experience, get to know your character, get to understand who your character is. What is their backstory? What are they coming from? Where are they trying to go? What's their goal? Initially, her only goal is to just stay away from the pain.
She is in grief. She's in denial. She is self-medicating. She is trying to minimize the pain that the outside worlds and life have dealt her,
Mm-hmm.
because the pain didn't stop when she got in the rocket. All of that haunts her, but then she winds up where, and she's still seen as a woman by men who can only see women a certain way. She's isolated, she's grieving, she is trying to find a way to deal with all that is dealt to that gender, to her race, and the only answer is escape for her. This is the perfect movie for our society these days. I mean, geez, ask a woman what this movie is about. There's elements of this movie that they live with every day. And I think the stat was 88% of the negative reviews are from men.
Yeah.
That's because you don't understand, because you never lived it. I'm not saying that I am a super liberal and I am a woman. No, I'm not. But I have enough women around that I can listen.
I'll
I can listen to.
I'll give you shall we say, some additional support to that comment in this way. I was with one of my students the other day, and we were talking about women portrayal or portrayal of women in a relationship with a man in what is obviously a difficult and uneven, somewhat unhealthy relationship. And the example we were discussing was the relationship between Rose and Troy, the two lead characters in Fences. 1957, black couple, been married for a while, teenage son, and the father is macho and not monogamous, misogynist in so many ways. And some of the ways that he speaks to her, it's not okay these days, but in those days, she was dealing with it because she had married this man and they raised a child together and all. And there are things that he says that were just acceptable in his head and in that world and in that time and in that relationship and in that culture and all those things at that moment. But
You
they
can
they rub a little, when you read it now. But the reality is, again, how does a strong, loving woman deal with a world that sees her only one way?
Yeah. And those who have not been able to handle this movie should go to YouTube and look up Denzel and Viola Davis. I'm standing right here with you, and watch that scene, because Denzel's character in Fences brings home a child from another woman that he fathered, and the woman's died or something. Um, and he is expecting his wife to raise this child who he had with another woman behind her back. And he gives all of the male reasons for why this is justified. And then Viola, oh, Viola,
He comes back. Yeah.
she lets loose. Tears are running, snot is running, spit is pouring out of her, because she is bursting. Her heart is bursting for him to understand that entire time where he's saying a man has needs, she had needs too. And she threw him to the side because she's with him. I've been right here with you. Oh, now there's an education, and that's the thing. I don't think the people who are complaining about this movie and these other movies, who are just going on online to just bitch and moan, I
Let
don't
me
think they have the experience, the education, the bandwidth of having seen something like Fences, etc., to understand in context how special this movie actually is.
let me give them a back door here. I'm going to just say that because audiences are audiences, and there are audiences for the kind of films we talk about, we enjoy, the books we read, and that sort of thing. And there are audiences who know that ain't going to work for them. And what I will say here is, again, if you went to see this movie, and again, I am not saying this is the greatest movie ever, but if you went to see this movie and you are that PO'd about all of these things that we have seen in writing, then you went to see the wrong movie. Okay. I
In
don't know
writing
why
and
you
in
went to
video.
see it, but you went to see the wrong movie. You should go see the movies that answer the call that you're trying to put out there. And I get that. But to spend all this time eviscerating this film for some of the reasons that you've stated offends certain people, Chris and I being one of them. But let's also stick
Well,
to the
I want to
structure now.
speak. I want to speak to that before we leave that point.
Okay, and then I want to get to a couple of
Yeah,
other things in the
yeah,
storytelling.
sure. You're assuming here, and with respect, you might be incorrect in some cases. Cases. You're assuming here that these people went and saw the movie. A lot of them who were bitching and moaning never saw the movie. They saw the poster behind you and the poster behind me. And they, oh my God, it's girls. I mean, it's the same. Look at the pattern of all the ones that get absolute slaughtered. Women, right? Secondly, these are the same people who have been bitching and moaning that Marvel puts out the same movie again and again. Right
Mm,
here with this movie, James Gunn broke new ground. It is a more complex movie. It tells a different story. It tells of a different struggle, heroic struggle. It is a different, newish kind of superhero film. And the same people who bitch and moan that we're getting the same thing over and over again are now bitching and moaning that there's something new here. That
good argument.
invalidates their argument. Now, you wanted to speak about some other
Yeah,
stuff, so
there's several critics who hailed that the best part, the saving grace of the film, the one thing that they loved the most, or the only thing they could like, I'm quoting variations of those remarks, is Lobo in the film. Now, if you have not if you have never read a comic book with Lobo in it, let me approach one of the rankings that was said about this film in terms of creme de la creme, of creme not being a developed villain. Lobo's character is undeveloped. If you
true.
don't know anything about that character, if you never read a comic book with Lobo in it, and somebody said, "Oh, how could that possibly be?" Believe me, it's possible because I know people who went to see the Black Panther movie and thought, "Oh, they made the Black Panther comic books based on this movie." No, okay. So, believe me, this could be possible. If people had never read anything about who this guy is, what they saw was this big dude, looked like a biker dude with a lot of mascara on, who's a hard ass, hard case, beats people up, disappears, comes back, beats people up, disappears, comes back, beats people up, somehow gets caught in a cage, which is never explained. Because
Right.
if he's that damn powerful, how did they lock him up? And if he allowed himself to be caught so that he could be in the same place when she gets caught, so that he could inspire, which is, believe me, that is like making up stuff in the back room on a run. But if that was even it, that's never dealt with. So then when he goes, I knew our plan would work. What plan? Okay, maybe they had a little whisper moment. I'll give him that. But then he beats more people up and he goes. And you enjoyed that? Okay, fine. You can enjoy that. How many movies, westerns especially, have you seen that kind of thing happen? I'm good with that. But then to say that was the best thing that happened in the movie?
It just shows your sexism and your limitations.
Yeah.
By the way, the only development of Lobo comes from Kara when she explains to Ruthie who that guy is. That's it. Like
Yep.
3 sentences. That's all you get from him.
Yep.
So
Yep.
she took care of it for it. No,
I
go to the next point. Go ahead.
Next point is this, and this is something that's been going on for decades. And again, some people accept it because of who the hero is on the screen or who the character is on the screen, and some people can't accept it at all. And what can I say? But here it goes. if you start out with Superman, Batman, Green Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl, any of these characters in their original incarnation, and come forward 20, 30 years, they were still pure fantasy. A lot of their things was bad guy comes, they fight, they get beaten for a little bit, then they beat the bad guy, happy ending. It's pretty much it. Batman, yeah, he started out kind of a darker character in the late 1930s, but eventually when they added Robin, it became a bit more saccharine. And I have nothing against those stories. I enjoyed those stories, but I'm just saying they tapered down the darkness or the attitude and all that. And again, there's the Batman TV series. What are you going to say about
Eh,
that one? You
Can
know?
I ask you a question about what you just said? Go
Oh,
ahead, finish your
okay.
point, but when you're done, say,
Yeah,
close your
absolutely.
question.
Okay, so you have these characters that were pretty safe until a certain point in space and time. And one of those space and time moments for me was when Denny O'Neil and
Neil Adams.
Thank you, Neil Adams began doing the Green Arrow, Green Lantern run. And what they did was, and they did it in a very, very overt manner, is they took real problems, real issues, real social scenarios, and made the characters, even they did it with Batman too, they made the characters deal with real life problems a bit more. Now, I think that's possibly because of what Marvel had done with Spider-Man and all those things, because again, they brought, you had Star City, you had Metropolis, you had Gotham City. These were cities that existed in a fantasy world. But now you had Spider-Man living in Queens. You had the
Hmm.
Baxter Building in Manhattan. You had locations that you could locate on a map, or if you lived in New York, you could wander through. And it brought more reality in. And it brought more, like with Uncle Ben dying, it brought more reality. When Gwen died, it brought more reality into the fantasy. And when you start bringing reality issues into your fantasy tales, you're going to affect your audiences differently. And I think really part of what we have here, again, when we go back to what I saw in terms of this story and the character of Kara, that kind of trauma, a lot of guys don't see that when it's happening in front of them with their girlfriends or their sisters or their family members or somebody they know in their school, where they don't get it then. They may try, some may try. I'm not saying we're all bastards, but bottom line, it's hard, right? So here you have this character on the screen who's got godlike powers, and they kept saying, "Oh, they kept nerfing her, they kept weakening her." Yeah, because otherwise she obliterates everything in the first 20 minutes, and we're good, and we can go home. And she doesn't grow from the experience. She kicks ass, gets the antidote, saves the dog, off again to get drunk. But if you're going to take her on this arc, and she has to deal with this trauma, and all these things have to happen, you've now said, okay, let's take an aspect of reality and plunk it right down as the core fuel for our fantasy or our fictional story here. And that means folks got to sit back in the audience and go, wow, what's really happening here? And can I go along for the ride? Do I want to go along for the ride? And that's another thing this happens. When you are a storyteller, you choose the themes that you're trying to explore. And then you try and do it to the best of your ability. And you will have some audiences that will rally, and you'll have others that will come at you with torches. You had a question.
You had mentioned Batman. Can we agree that Batman is one of the most beloved characters to come out of comics?
Oh, icon of
His,
icons.
his symbol is one of the top three recognizable symbols in the world. The Superman shield is another of the top three.
Hmm.
The Spider-Man logo is probably in there too. So you were saying, I'm going to build this argument. You were saying that he was a dark and brooding character,
In the very, very
almost
beginning.
almost evil.
I didn't say evil. I didn't say evil, but he was.
Almost. I'm saying
Oh, okay.
he was the mythic shadow character, right? I mean,
Hmm.
that goes all the way back to Greek and Roman times, to ancient mythology. There's a dark character and a light character, right?
Hmm.
Superman's the light character.
Hmm.
Uh, um, Batman has a dark character, right? Much like the shadow, dark character. And what lightened him up?
The comics code and
No,
Robin being added to the story.
Dick Grayson, Robin.
Yep. Yep.
And then he grew up and became Nightwing and all that sort of stuff. And they got Jason Todd, And then the
Mm-hmm.
Joker killed Jason Todd. And what did Batman become? A
Oh boy.
dark, brooding, almost evil character, right? Out of control. And what saved him? Or who saved him? Tim
Ah,
Drake,
Tim
the
Drake, yeah.
next Robin, a
Right.
youthful, brighter soul, right? And that's those versions of the story are beloved around the world, yes?
Mm-hmm.
A
Mm-hmm.
dark, troubled character saved by youthful innocence, and the dark character realizing that dark character must work to protect the lighter soul. True?
And they did a flip,
Yes?
but I'm gonna let you keep going. There's a
Yes?
flip in there, but go
Right?
ahead.
Yes? Just let's
Yes,
keep.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. What is this story? This story is a dark, brooding, almost out of control character and is saved by the appearance of a youthful innocent who needs help. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same story. It
Mm-hmm.
is a classic tale. Now, what's on top of that is all the subtleties and complexities that Kara brings and the female perspective, which they can't handle, but they should, because women are half the world. Okay? Now I'm going to ask you a different question. Is Captain America a popular character?
Oh boy, yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Is the Punisher uh, a
Popular
popular
character.
character?
Oh yeah. Especially the Bernenthal
Yeah, John
portrayal.
Barenthal's iteration is
Yeah.
has brought them to the most prominence he's
Was
ever
like
had,
what,
right?
four? There were three others before him, if I remember right. And yeah, his is the one.
So light characters and dark characters can exist together. Punisher just did a one and done special where he was just a killing machine. And the thing that brightened him, that saved him, is a little girl calling for help in the corner candy or the corner store. And he decides to turn around and save her. And he realizes that the war isn't over. He can protect these people. And it's that girl's cry for help and his decision to help her that saves his soul and probably saves his life because he's very suicidal in that. It also positions him to be in the upcoming Spider-Man movie. And then you get to see that very bright light character, Spider-Man, and the darker character, Punisher, again. Okay. So, what I'm saying all this for is go and watch the Superman movie and then go and watch Supergirl. It is the light and the dark. And the Supergirl movie is a classic structure just told from a feminine point of view.
Can I point out something that may support that?
You can do whatever you want to do, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, here it goes. I remember I said that they also flipped that the Batman equation that you were talking about with his son through Tara.
Oh, yeah. But that character, what was that character's name? I forget that kid's name.
Yeah,
He's the latest Robin.
I'm trying to
Um,
pull it right now, and it's not coming to me. But the bottom
yeah,
line is, he came in dark and
yeah, he
brutal,
was a wise ass,
right,
but you
and
gotta
trained to
lighten him
kill.
out,
He
huh?
was raised by assassins,
Yeah,
so he comes in dark, and Batman has to become the
right.
lighter issue,
So
right?
this is not new territory, the Supergirl
No,
movie, and
no.
it's just another version of the story, and it's not worthy
I don't remember his
of the
name.
vitriol. Something Al's Ghul.
Yes.
It's this does not merit this movie here, or the one behind you, right? It doesn't merit the hate that it's receiving, and it is wrong for them. And again, I think they're cutting off collectively all of our noses to spite their own faces because they choose hate over just go see another damn movie. And they just whatever comes out, oh, it's too woke, it's too this, it's too that. Read a damn book. Oh my God, it's just so useless. To what end is this happening? Oh, they want movies with no women in it, and maybe a planet with no. We just want them to be sex. Oh, shut up. Only people who really want women to just be sex objects are people who just haven't had sex. That's
Oh, God, that's a
that's it.
bold statement.
That's it, bro. I know I'm being nasty, but I'm figuring maybe the nastiness will catch your attention because it's their same frequency,
Right.
and maybe they'll say, "Wait a minute, I want to have sex. Wait, I've had not by yourself. That doesn't count."
Yeah.
What I'm trying to get
Feisty.
across on this whole episode is that we can't nullify art for prejudices. That's just where does that take us? It takes us to a dead end alley where nothing new grows.
And there are people who are very happy with that alley, or there are people who are very happy with things that don't change, but things always change. I'll
They
just say even
shouldn't
quickly,
be
even
allowed to have, or
even
they shouldn't have the voice they have.
well,
So
they
people
do,
like you
they
and I
do,
have to speak up to try and balance it out.
and we can continue to try to do that. I'll even say that, just in terms of a couple of quick things, this movie, again, let's say that everybody loved this movie. Let's just for a split second pretend that. In the comic books, Candor is in a bottle.
Mhm.
It survived the Krypton experience. It didn't die out in space. But
It's a
here,
tiny bottle.
yeah, right. It's a very small bottle in the Fortress of Solitude. There's even a thing about, where's the key? Where's the big key? Well, we got the little key now, right? Things keep changing because that's what society and that's what humanity is doing. Every 5 to 10 years, some new batch of creatives come in and they say, "Ooh, what if we do this?" There's the what if. What if we do this? What if we do that? And that's life. The other thing too is they, again, going back to Krim. See, I do remember him. There's a character, reviewer who does a funny. He bashes the film, but he does a funny video review of it, and he's talking about Krim, and he eventually reaches the conclusion that I got when I first saw the guy, is that either I'm looking at Pinhead or I'm looking at a guy who escaped the Mad Max films.
Yeah.
But once
I thought
again,
all that I will criticize the movie in that I didn't think any of that was necessary. That whole kind of pirate buccaneer look that he has in the comics was good enough. There is a reasoning behind all of this, but it did look too much like a Mad Max thing.
yeah,
It was distracting.
and there's
But
also
that's
again,
I'm not going all over the social media saying, and that's why no one should see this film. Because
again,
it
and
wasn't my
again,
favorite part of the film.
it has its audience, and all I'm saying is again, as storytellers, and going back to again what TTDS is all about, as storytellers, what's your theme? What's your message? What are you trying to say? What do you want the audience to feel? What do you want us to be rooting for? What do you want us to be shouting against, railing against? What kind of thought process or state of mind or being or emotions do you want us to be at the end of the film? Are you trying to make us feel good? Do you want us to make us think? Whatever. These are all things that you think about as you build your structure, your story, your plot, and you move it along. And yes, if you make mistakes as the writer now, because remember, we're talking about a movie, there's 100 other people who had their fingers in this pie. But if you make mistakes as a writer, they should be mistakes that you acknowledge and try and do better the next time. I mean, that's all. That even as old as I am, and as I know Chris is so much younger, but even when we
Not
write
much.
new projects, we don't go into that thinking, "Oh, I've written 30 other stories. This will be a dream. This will be simple. I'm not going to have any problems with
Never
this."
do that.
No, every new project is a new project and
Yeah.
comes with its own set of possible
Yeah.
problems, or hills to climb and all that kind of stuff. So as creatives, getting some idea of what are you trying to say, who are these characters, and how do you want them to move through the story, and how do you want your audience to flow and go along with them. These are things you think about, and you try and structure in a way that gives you a satisfactory ending to deliver to your audience.
Yeah, I'm going to have a. I agree with you, but I'm also going to have a slight disagreement with something you said. You said something about, well, this movie has its audience. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have the audience it deserves because of all the white noise. And as a co-host of Tell the Damn Story, one of the things we should do is assess story. All the elements of a good story are present in this movie. all the elements of a good film are in this movie. Is it perfect? No. But it deserves a bigger audience and a bigger box office than it has received. It's the same thing where people all crap all over Ant-Man Quantum Mania. That was a movie that was burdened with wrapping up the Kang thing, because crap, it was happening with Kang while they were making that film. And, you know, I love that process where you've got to punt and you do it well. They did really well with what they had. If all that other stuff outside the movie hadn't happened, Kang would have survived that or gone into whatever he went when he disappeared there. And that would have been another part of his tale. Sometimes the outside world gets in the way. And if it's
reality, whoa, what a concept.
If it's hurting a good story unfairly, and you are someone who believes in storytelling, and if you're watching Tell a Damn Story, you should believe in good storytelling. Yeah, it's part of the responsibility to speak up and say, wait a second, you're not telling the truth. There's not enough. Not only in this film, not only this subject matter, but even in reality, even in politics and government and economics and climate, all that stuff. And I am not a liberal by any, I'm a centrist, but people are actively trying to reject reality because it's not convenient for them. Same thing is happening to this movie. So it's a vehicle to stake your claim. And I claim that, look, if it's a story that is coherent and it's a story that has value, don't make crap up about it. You can't look over your shoulder and say that face and that actress shouldn't have done that movie. That's stupid. Or that the story doesn't make sense, or that Lobo is the best thing. It's just nonsense. It's the same nonsense as a million other things that are in today's newspapers that we could just as easily spend a half hour or hour on, right? But this is a Tell a Damn Story show, not what's going on with America or what's going on. That's go to another channel for that. Yeah. Okay? But it was every once in a while, movies get just crapped on for no good reason or for an insidious reason.
Yep.
This was an insidious reason, and people who respect story need to speak up about it. And yes, we are late to the party because all the yelling and discussion were a couple of weeks ago, but we got here. And this is what we had to say.
Well, older guys, we move slower.
Hey, you know how it is.
Yeah.
But if we got something out of this, I hope.
Yes.
It may not have told you how to twist that plot this episode, but I hope it told you to have some fire in your belly for telling the damn story. And in this case, defending the damn story.
Absolutely. And I'll just round this off by saying you mentioned several other films in here and idiotic reasons why some people were dumped on. So folks, give that some thought too, in terms of the space in your head for the kind of stories you want to tell, but also the kind of stories you want to see and hear.
And the stories you're willing to defend.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, brother.
Chris, it was good. It was good. It was feisty.
All right, brother. It's always an honor to be in your presence.
Same here, brother. You take care, and everybody, you take care. Oh, and please, and
subscribe.
Yes, because we'll be doing this again.
If there's some stuff in here that you liked, go ahead and share it. You can share it.
Yeah,
share it.
We'll like you more for it.
You can even say, "Well, one of these guys really curses," but it's still. Go ahead.
They may actually pass it around because you're cursing. So hey,
you gotta watch this guy, man.
Yeah,
this bald guy looks like he's got no ears. He's going nuts.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.